Welcome back to the Football Tragics. I'm your host, Aaron, joined here by Campo, Morty, and our guest for today, an Arsenal fan. He's been on the pod a few times now. Baxter, how you doing today, mate? After a couple, unfortunate results for you guys.
Yeah, look, it's not been the best of times. I thought we got out of that grey period, but yeah, where do we begin? Let's just start.
We're gonna begin with the North London derby, the one that was prolonged for a few months. Campo, you're bloody itching to get into this one, so we'll let you start off. 3-0 over Arsenal. I mean, you're made to wait to play this game, so give us your thoughts on the result.
Well, we were made to wait when Son was injured. So they wanted to wait 4 months. Son comes back. And who does the most amount of damage? Son. He kept Rob Holding, nature and by name, deserved the first yellow. Then ludicrous, he just throws an elbow for no reason. Son, that ball's going straight to the keeper. Deserved red card. It's 2 yellows. He's off. Penalty. It's a penalty in my opinion. Baxter thinks otherwise probably, but Cedric isn't even looking at the ball. He thinks Son's got a clear header, runs elbow straight in the back, pushes him to the ground. We see him not given a lot, but he did it right in front of the ref. The ref had the perfect view. And then 1-0 from the pen, 2-0 from Poacher's call, lovely flick on Harry Kane, Poacher's effort. And then Son does the damage, wraps the game up and puts the pressure on Arsenal.
Baxter, had you have won this game, it would have secured Champions League football. Now, we'll get into the result a bit later, the following one, but this one, I mean, it was a 6-pointer really because, again, you win, you're in Champions League football, you lose, and all of a sudden they're on your tail, and now they've overtaken you, and you guys are now the ones that are probably going to miss out. Give us your thoughts on the game and just the situation at Arsenal. Do you think they were overachieving, or what do you reckon?
Everything Campo said, I'm not going to disagree with. We come into this game and we play like that and you expect to get 3 points. No, you deserve to get battered, especially being the home team. Percentages and stats say that the home team normally wins. So you can't. No way was I going into this game thinking, oh, we're going to win comfortably. So, yeah, look, as you said, Holding, what is he doing? Cedric, what is he doing? I think you replace Holding or maybe White or Gabriel with a more seasoned head like Thiago Silva who can control a game and on the defense line there. There's no words for it. They got handed what was coming, and maybe Champions League maybe was overachieving, but if you're there, you're there. If you're not, well, Europa is fine for me.
If you probably look at the start of the season and think, we'll take a Europa League or something, but then you look at the likes of United having a poor season, Spurs for a while having a poor season as well, and then you think, Champions League's for the taking, and you're in such a great spot to get it. Even a draw in this game would have, again, still had the pressure more so on Spurs than on you guys. So to turn up to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and just get absolutely whitewashed is pretty embarrassing, to say the least. Morty, thoughts on the game from a more neutral perspective? I mean, they both agreed with each other, but what were your thoughts on this one? Was it a surprising result?
It was surprising that in the fact that Arsenal made it look so easy for Tottenham. I know I probably said the otherwise, but that's just my hate of Spurs. But it was most likely Tottenham going to win this game, but Arsenal just basically just parted down the middle and just gave away. Like, they didn't really put up a fight. Like, I've seen more heart from them throughout the year. They just gave up. Like, yes, they went down to 10 men, but they gave up. They continued on and just, I don't know. And as we move on to the result afterwards, I think they're content finishing fifth. Like, I don't know what they're doing. They're waiting for Tottenham to screw up, and then they screwed up themselves. So, fair result. Calls are fair. So,
I think it just goes to show that this Arsenal team is just very inexperienced at the minute. They don't know how to keep their composure and stuff. They obviously started the season in horrendous form, sitting at bottom after 4 games, and then they click. They go on a decent run. Then they go on a few runs of bad form again. They lose 3 on the trot, then they win 3 on the trot, beating the likes of Chelsea and things like that, and United. West Ham as well, and you just think, they should kick on here and kind of keep going up and up. But again, they drop back down. So
You got to
Arsenal, I
think.
think,
You got to think Arsenal, they got knocked out of the competitions early. They've had no pressure all season. It's just week in, week out football. And
Neither of Spurs. Before you go on this tangent.
No, I'm just saying Arsenal had pressure and they've come to a very, very hostile stadium. They haven't had anything like that this year. This is why this is the most fierce derby in England, in my opinion. They just got the 12th man, the crowd, very hostile. And I just think Arsenal got scared. That's my opinion. They got scared. They just.
I would say going to Liverpool would be more scarier than going to a North London derby. Seriously, the way Liverpool played the first game and then come to us, and that was more scarier. So I disagree with you there.
I'm talking about pure hostility.
there's more of a hatred. Like an Arsenal fan is going to give it to a Spurs fan, vice versa, more so than a Liverpool fan would because of the hatred there.
I agree with you there, but going to Liverpool, I'd say is more of a scarier place. It was United in the early 2000s. Obviously, we had that Arsenal United rivalry, but I don't feel. I can't speak from a player's experience, but for me, I don't feel scared because going to Spurs Stadium in a North London derby, as I said, the home team is more in percentage-wise going to win. So it's like, well, okay, either way, we're going to draw or lose here. Where other places like United or Liverpool, yeah, we have a better chance. So that's why I'm not as scared going to Spurs and losing. Like it wasn't.
I feel like that comes a bit with the stadium as well. Like the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is massive. It almost like doesn't look full when you go there, so you can see why you kind of do feel a bit more welcome. Whereas you go to like the likes of an Anfield, a Stamford Bridge, a Goodison Park, for example, who went doing their work with their fans recently, and it's a very boxed-in stadium, and you feel the atmosphere tenfold compared to the likes of a big stadium. It's the same with London Stadium for West Ham. I don't get
so
any sort of there. So, but who knows? I mean, inside the ground, we don't get to see it, but inside the ground probably is a different story. But I can see what you're saying in terms of different atmospheres make a difference. But yeah, 12th man here was obviously the fans for Spurs, and I just carried them over the line in this North London derby. And again, put all the pressure back on you guys. And I mean, since then have slipped up again. But before we get into that game, we'll get into Spurs' next result. It was a quick turnaround, but they managed to beat Burnley. It wasn't the prettiest game. It was a 1-0 finish. But Campo, I mean, you take that every day of the week, don't you?
Oh, 100%. We battered them from start to finish. If it wasn't for Nick Pope, he was incredible this game. The amount of saves, cracking saves he made. If Burnley go down, someone's getting him for a good price, and he will start for them. Like, he is an absolute gun of a keeper. But yes, handball from Ashley Barnes, Harry Kane penalty. You know what happens next. Goal. Game over.
Morty, thoughts on the game?
This was a bit more tedious on the call. I don't know. They get awarded either way. They keep doing this. So, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, and Tottenham found a way. That's all you can ask of a team. But yeah, I don't know. Tottenham. I feel like this season Tottenham are just that's the best we're going to get from that side. I don't think they have that other gear that's going to go up. I think everyone else has just played terribly around them.
So would you say a game against Burnley and a game against Arsenal, which was the better game? Like Arsenal obviously didn't turn up, but a 3-0 scoreline, I mean, it flutters Spurs. Is that the best you're going to get from them? Like only if Arsenal doesn't turn up, for example?
No, I mean across the board. Like we're mentioning Arsenal there, saying the pressure's on, blah blah blah. What pressure, mate? They were bottom in the relegation battle for the first 10 weeks. Like the fact that they're back up there, none of us put them in the top 4. So I don't know what pressure. I think this is just hindsight looking back. Tottenham, they're just there. They're accidentally there again.
It was only a couple of weeks ago they got a point from you guys and probably could have got more.
Should have got more.
Sorry, and we go back to again how they have to counter our style of play. They don't play their own game. They keep rocking up to these teams not playing their own game. That's why they're there.
Do you think Conte is the best manager for them currently, and he will bring them as much success as they can possibly have, which is not much
Yeah.
recently?
There's not much
Do you,
success to get there. That's
but
what you
do
get.
you think they'll build under Conte, or do you think he's gone after another year? I mean, we've seen there's been a couple of times he did say he basically wants to leave because of bad results, but I think that's just his emotion as a manager.
They'll try and build, but after a year of them, they'll go, oh, well, that side finished top 4. He's going to quickly realise they're not going to give him any money, and they're going to go, we'll do it again. And that's why every manager's suffered since.
It'll be.
So-
Campo, I think you'll probably know. Like it'll be a case of you get Champions League football, you'll back Conte. Conte doesn't get his backing, he's gone. He does it wherever he goes. So, do you see them backing Conte fully this time? Like they didn't back Jose as much as they probably could have. But yeah, do you think they'll back Conte?
Yeah, he's been talking to leaving more than anyone else has, and like straight away, 80 mil bang out on the table, signing Romero and Kulusevski straight away, not letting the loans run down, just getting them done. And I think he's already putting on the market a lot of players just to sell them cheaper so he can build his war budget.
You'd have to say that Harry Kane's the one to keep though for sure. I think Son has proved he's staying. He seems pretty loyal to the club. But Harry Kane, you wouldn't want to lose him.
He's staying. He's already been reported saying he'll stay if Conte stays.
Okay, Baxter, what were your thoughts on this game? I mean, obviously didn't please you to see this result.
And anybody can beat Burnley, so it wasn't surprising. So yeah, like as Morty said, like can Spurs go up that other gear? Like the rest of like Chelsea, like Paul, like City, can they hit that next gear? And with Conte, it's sort of a 50-50 there. Maybe, as you said, as Campo said, war chest comes in and you bring in the players that you need. But if I was Spurs, I'll be selling Kane and building my team around Son, because Son is the heart and everything to go forward, where Kane he's hit and miss sometimes. So who cares?
But you don't like starting Kane and then like together they have proven successful. Like they now have the most goal contributions a pair could ever have. So it's not as though having Kane there hinders Son. Like they get the best.
But the way Conte wants to play, he only wants to play one up top. So do you play Son out wide and leave it like that, or do you want to play two up front?
I think you do what he's doing now, and then you replace the players that need replacing, like the defensive midfield. I think that centre half they signed, Christian Romero, has actually been a great signing. Could they then go and sign something to partner him? Yes. Could they ship off Emerson Royale after only a year? Yes. Do they need another left back? Yes. These positions need strengthening. What's that?
We've seen this all before.
Yes, I think Conte has a different pool compared to the other managers that probably
over Jose. Jose that managed to pull money out of United's ass. Like
I don't think they really back Mourinho like they probably could have, and I think Mourinho's arrogance kind of got in the way a little bit there. But so
is Conte. What club can be happy when their manager comes out and goes, "I want to leave every other week"? But that only happens at Spurs.
It happens with every club he goes to,
and he leaves. So you pick him up. I'm not saying the wrong thing. Like yes, you've signed Kulusevski and yes, you've signed Romero. But that's what I'm saying. The club's gone. Okay, well they worked. We'll keep them. That's it. Because you're going to go through the next season and go, oh well, blah blah blah, and then you'll think another one. You keep skipping a season of signings to get to the next one when you're not building through those seasons. That's all that happens with Spurs. They go on this run and they bring in players and go, oh, we're stuffed up. We bring in some more players. And then they go, oh, we got there, so we'll do it again. But they don't. They keep going up and down. And the manager's been the one recently. But under Poch as well. Like they lost the league to Leicester. And then they fell right back down again after that. So that's just what we see. It's what happens from Spurs. That's what they get.
Let's flip the switch now. Let's talk about Burnley a bit. We can't just talk about the bigger clubs. We've got to give a bit of love or a bit of hatred towards Burnley because they could be going down. They've got a game in hand over Leeds, but they are currently sitting 18th, 1 point behind Leeds. Baxter, do you think they're going down?
Look, I did comment on a thing saying Leeds and Everton should stay up, so Burnley to drop. Yeah, it would be good to see, but yeah, Burnley going down.
in terms of the more exciting team to stay up, you'd say Leeds are more exciting, and you would kind of want to keep them in the league. But Campo again, like who do you think it's going down? Like Leeds probably have the harder run in now with the worst goal difference. Burnley only need a point now from their final 2 games, really. But yeah, do you think it's Burnley? Do you think it's Leeds, or can Everton still be the ones to drop?
No, I think Everton's just going to hold on. I think it'll be Burnley.
Morty, I know you obviously want Everton to go, but is it Burnley for you as well?
No, I think it's Leeds, to be honest. I think Burnley, what they do best is pull out a draw, and they'll find one out of the next 2. But and we talk about exciting teams. I'd say Burnley, since Sean Dyche has been sacked, have been way more exciting than Leeds ever have. I'm being honest. Like they haven't been a bad squad under Sean Dyche, but they've always had that counter-attacking, long ball, everyone behind the ball, and catch run out. All of a sudden, they're playing football, and they're getting wins. Like under Sean Dyche, they had 1 win. They've got 6 or something now. 7 wins. They've got 6 wins since Sean Dyche got sacked. Like you don't get that from thing. I think that's what I'm saying. I can say they stay up. Leeds are going down. I'd rather Everton, but really, Leeds.
Well, Burnley wanted an amazing run after that sacking, and almost seemed like the great escape's on. They're obviously now sitting in that relegation, but still they've got Villa away, and then they have Newcastle at home, whereas Leeds have Brentford away in their final game. So it's hard to say who's going down at this point. But I think Burnley, they really only need a point, I think, because I don't see Leeds beating Brentford away, maybe getting a draw. So I think a Burnley win here, across the 2 games, that sends Leeds down.
And Steven Gerrard will give it to them in any chance of hope that Everton can go down. The bloke's got all to say.
All right, well, we're obviously going to get into those games in our preview coming up later in the week, but let's move forward. It was Wolves 1-1 with Norwich. Probably a game I'm not too keen to talk about. It doesn't really mean much for either team. I think Wolves they're not going to get Conference League now. They went on a good run. They're now on a bad run, really. Norwich, I mean, they were down at the start of the season, really, but mathematically only about a month ago. Campo, what are your thoughts on this game? Keep it short and sweet.
37 games in, and Norwich actually try to start scoring again. I think they're getting ready for the championship, get those goals flowing again. So good to see for Norwich, preparing to come back into the Premier League in 2024. So good on them, but it's just a game that meant nothing to either team pretty much.
Morty, are they coming straight back up?
No, hope not. Goodbye. Not sad to see him go.
Baxter, is this a successful season for Wolves, or should they have been really fighting with West Ham for that 7th spot, more so than falling off recently?
Yeah, they should have been fighting for 7th. I think it's a sort of a C- sort of season for them. So, well. I
feel like you put your Leicester and your Wolves and maybe your West Ham in that same little bracket there, that team that's just outside. They're going to finish above Leicester most likely, but below West Ham. And West Ham they were on a cup run for however long it was in Europe. So Wolves, I thought, could have definitely picked them to that Conference League spot, but it looks like it's West Ham's. Well, it is West Ham's. It's an average season. I think I can go with it to like a C, maybe a B+. It's not been the worst thing in the world, but they'll need to deal with that for sure. All right, let's get into a bigger game now. West Ham 2-2 with Man City. Morty, you get to take us off this time because it was a result that it probably favoured you guys, that's for sure.
An absolute roller coaster of emotions. So it's on cloud 9, absolutely firing, and bloody Antonio went and bottled the other chance. I was sitting there with Tony, and Tony's going to cost you. And it didn't cost us as much in the end. I mean, obviously Mara's missed his shot, but a draw here, the best hope we're going to have, I think, in hindsight, like realistically, we're West Ham going to trouble them that much to what it was, and I think it's just the Premier League. It's what it gives us, and City again stumbling at the heels, and whether they continue on with that thing, because I mean, honestly, if they pull that performance out again, they might drop another point. Like they're every chance. So we will see. West Ham, great performance. So Bowen, quality. If that bloke isn't playing for England, then, well, I mean, Southgate does have rocks in his head. So, but yeah, he needs to be there above the others that I reckon he'll end up still picking anyway. But quality in West Ham, just trying to get above United. So comes down to the last day.
I
Race
feel like
across the board.
everyone's looking at this at the Villa game, the final game of the season for City, and thinking that's the one that's going to trouble them. But then West Ham, I mean, they have troubled them. They beat them early in the season or drew against them.
They won, yeah.
They beat you guys. They've beaten us. Or I think drawn with us. They've done a number of teams, and they've had what you would say a very successful season, especially with that long cup run, which obviously unfortunately ended. But yeah, good season for West Ham. Great result for West Ham. City did slip up a little bit. They got it back to 2-2. They then have a penalty to go and win it, which Mahrez. I mean, City's penalty troubles has always been a bit of a problem. They can't really find a consistent penalty taker. They'd kill to have had Harry Kane because that bloke never misses a penalty. But yeah, 2-2 draw. Jack Grealish, of all people, kind of coming on and changing the game for him. And I think he could do the exact same thing against his old club Villa. But it's hard to look at. It's not the worst result in the world for City. I feel like it doesn't change much for City. It's still in their hands. They know what they've got to do. They have to go to Villa and win or just match your result. So it's not the worst result. But Jared Bowen, Baxter, do you think I'm going to be coming in for him, or is he happy at West Ham and kind of building with them?
Nah, stay at West Ham, get a statue. You played greatly for the club, so yeah, that's it. And hopefully City lose.
Okay, look at that. He's on the Liverpool bandwagon. All right, let's get into Watford's result against Leicester. They went 1-0 up, and then it just went the complete opposite for them. 5-1 defeat at home. Baxter, I want to come straight back to you. Thoughts on this game? It's obviously been a woeful season for Watford, like, I mean, most have been recently for them in the Prem. Baxter?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was like, what?
I don't want to talk about Watford, but it's okay. You have to.
Look, I don't really watch this game, so this is sort of a snooze test for me. Leicester just getting the job done and Watford being Watford, really.
It's not often you'd say 5-1's a snooze fest, but I can see what you're saying, that's for sure. Leicester haven't had a great season, though, Campo, have they?
Nah, they've come out the blocks slow. They've started to pick up a few results at the end of the season, but again, after how far they got in the Conference League, they were hoping for some sort of trophy, but they fall short. And I think this kind of helps them for next year, having no European competition with their squad. So summer's going to be a big window with Tielemans linked to leave and Vardy getting old. So they have to do something pretty big to stay up with the likes of the big boys.
Yeah, in my opinion, they've got a few people that have to keep hold of. I don't think Tielemans is going to be one of them. I think they'll lose him. James Maddison looks as though he's kind of flying on the radar again, which is good for their state. Wesley Fofana, a bit injury prone now, so he should stay. But with Vardy, I mean, he's getting old. They need to start building, past him. He's still scoring goals. Harvey Barnes is scoring goals for fun as well. So they're the players that need to build around Harvey Barnes and the Drewsbury Halls and players like that, and James Maddison, of course. But yeah, Vardy's not going to be able to keep picking them in year in, year out. He's probably got a year or two left in him before he's happy to go and party in bloody Dubai, wherever he wants to go. But look, like you said, they went on a long cup run in Europe. But again, ninth for them, I think, isn't a good enough season. The way they were building, they've got a Premier League trophy, yes. They've got an FA Cup trophy now, yes. But yeah, you feel like teams like this, they should always be constantly building upwards. And I think for them, it's a ninth is a poor result. Morty, what do you reckon?
Oh, much the same. I think Leicester severely underperformed throughout this season, and what they had been building to is going to come crashing down because, as you say, Tielemans is on the way out. Vardy might be next season, and yeah, Maddison, he's more of I think he's kind of like Lingard-esque. He rocks up every now and again, plays off that one game he had 3 years ago, and doesn't really do much throughout a season consistently enough to really claim anything. Same with Harvey Barnes. Like they're going to be lacking some consistency again next year, and very interesting times ahead for him.
James Maddison especially is one of those players who, no matter how well he plays, probably won't cut it in the England squad just because there's too many players now ahead of him in his position, as well as he can play, because he is probably cut. He probably is good enough for international, but it's probably just not going to be with England. I think he has played a couple of games with them, but yeah, I can't see him getting ahead of Southgate's favourites, that's for sure. Watford, I mean, we all know they're going down now. They're joining Norwich. They're the two clubs that have been confirmed down. Do any of you guys see them coming straight back up? I feel like they're one of the teams that definitely could. They are losing Ben Foster, though. He is officially going, so...
Oh,
Nah, I don't know. Championship's a very hard league to constantly come up and down in. Time will tell. I got no idea.
Baxter?
hopefully they come up. I like them.
All right. Well, I'm glad that we're going to get Ben Foster's match footage back, hopefully, next season. GoPro in the goal. That'll be good to watch. All right. Leeds versus Brighton. 1-1 draw. Not a great result for Leeds at home. I mean, you can't even say a point's good enough at this point because they need 3 points. Campo, thoughts on this game, and it's just not good enough for a Leeds team at home.
No, it isn't good enough, but 92nd minute, that was huge because you don't want to be in the bottom three. You'd rather points on the board than games in hand. We've said it all season. And Burnley, yes, now they're in the relegation fight. They have the pressure now. They're not in that bottom three. So we'll wait. We'll see on Friday if pressure makes diamonds. But I think that was, a huge result for Leeds in the 92nd minute to come back and jag the draw there.
They've had a couple of those big 90+ minute equalisers to rescue them a point. It's definitely Ellen Road that's kind of making them do that. I think it's that 12th minute like you're talking about. Goodison Park's been the same for Everton. They are away on their final day. That's the only issue I have, is that they're away at Brentford. Had they been at home, maybe you'd have a bit more belief in them. But Morty, do you think that, this result here against Brighton was good enough? And again, can they do enough on that final day?
It's the glory of league. I don't know. I can't sit here and say otherwise. I mean, up until that point, we assuming Leeds had lost that game, they were done, and that was the nail in the coffin. I mean, but some other results going that way. Leeds got a draw out of it. I mean, they are playing Brentford, and if any team is as yo-yo as kind of Leeds have been throughout the season, it's been Brentford. So. Yeah, it will be interesting.
Would you say that 11th place is yo-yo?
Not yo-yo, but Brentford have had their run of form. Like they started off hot, went cold throughout for the next 8, and then hot again. They haven't been up and down every week, but they've just been on these form runs that kind of, I guess maybe Leeds have more yo-yo in the week in, week out sort of thing. So. But, yeah, getting to Brentford's right afterwards, it doesn't look very promising if that's the way they're going to defend, I guess. So we'll see. Baxter,
thoughts? Brighton, we have to give credit to them. I think their season as a whole has been hugely successful. Hopefully they crack that. They'd stay in the top 10 because it's been a great season for them.
Yeah, it's been a good season for Brighton. Unlucky, the way Leeds have been travelling. Hopefully they do stay up and... Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into a team that probably is a yo-yo club in a little way this season. It's Crystal Palace's draw at Villa 1-1. Palace, they started great. They probably should have more points on the board, though, than what they do because they play some great football at times. Morty, what were your thoughts on this one? And again, Villa, 1 point here, hopefully 3 the next week. Like, do you think does this game give you confidence going into their next game against City?
Yeah, look, I think this is pretty much kind of a nothing game for the both of them. They're both just happy to be where they are. I think they're just kind of looking at what they've got, playing around, and both these managers fairly new to their clubs. Gerrard's half season, Vieira's a season. I think Vieira's done pretty well across the whole board to get Palace to where they are, and yeah. There's improvements to be made at Villa, but I can't say positive signs either way because they weren't great, they weren't terrible.
Campo, a lot of people had Palace to go down this season. That's how bad they kind of tipped them. So Vieira, I know you don't like him, he's an Arsenal lad, but you'll give credit to him as a manager and the job he's done at Palace.
No, I don't give him any credit. 13th place, still fucking terrible. For how good they've played, 13th place isn't a good enough reflection on how good they've played in patches. The amount of times they always fall asleep in the death, it became a bit of a trend. But yeah, fair enough. He took an average club to 13th, so good on him, I guess. But yeah, just two teams that have nothing to play for. Got a draw. It is what it is.
That could be the case to Villa next week, having nothing to play for, apart from obviously a couple of lads on the team and the manager that would probably want a result there. Baxter, this game though, obviously, do you think that Villa has underachieved a bit since Gerrard's come in? Do you think they should be higher with when he started pretty hot there, but then he's gone pretty cold as well?
I think what they've been doing is fine. Like, yeah, he came in hot, really getting all those wins, and they started to cool off. I think they've sort of started to realise now that they've got to build. Obviously, the new signing of Coutinho permanently from Barca is good. Only they can build on that and look forward to next season building.
There's rumours pretty strongly that Luis Suarez could be going there. Any of you boys see that happening, or do you think he's heading back to Uruguay or somewhere else?
No, he came out and said that he wants to stay in Europe, possibly in the top of the he wants to stay in Europe. MLS is off the tables. He doesn't want that. That's big money there. He wants to stay in Europe, especially in the top 5 leagues. That was his reports.
Campo, could you see it happening? Gerrard would have some pull there.
I can't see him going to Villa. I can't see him going to Villa. He's just too. He's too good of a. He's a world-class striker still, regardless.
Would you not have said that the same about Philip Coutinho? Like, nobody probably would have seen him going there.
Yeah, but Coutinho at that time was shit. Like, he went to Villa to revive his career, where Suarez is still banging in goals. Even Arsenal could, use a Suarez.
No, we don't want him.
They'll offer him 40 million, 1 cent was it, that they offered a few years back? So
yeah, we did. 1 cent more than, just stupid. But we don't want him.
Mr. Liverpool now. Morty, do you see him going there? Joining like with Gerrard and Coutinho?
It depends on what he wants. I mean, he is getting older. I think if he went to Villa, him getting 10 goals in the season is a success story for him. I think that kind of pressure would be off his shoulders of going to another big club to match his history of Suarez, basically. But I'm not sure. I mean, it's either going to go to like a Bayern or actually, I don't even see him going to Germany. Like, it's going to be England, or he stays in the Spanish league. And what better place to do it back with your old mate? I mean, honestly, like we've seen Defoe do this similar things. Like, just because he's been great, and yes, he's still a world class striker, doesn't rule out the fact he could go to Villa just to retire on a good note. Because even if he just holds Villa up next year, they'll all applaud him. It'll be great for them next season. If he went to an Arsenal, he could end up the most hated player in the world again. Like, I think he's kind of past that, and he'll play some good football. He won't have to be relied on it week in, week out, and he can help grow some new talent there for Gerrard. So it wouldn't be a bad shot.
It is hard to say though, because he's 35. He's old. He's not got the legs in, I don't think, like he did when he was at Barcelona in his prime at Liverpool. He's going to need a team that puts it on the platter for him to score his goals. I don't see him working hard enough to get those goals. So do Villa create enough chances for him? I don't know. Would he go and succeed at Arsenal? Again, maybe not, because again, he probably needs to work a little harder there. But throw him up top at Bayern, he's gonna score 20 goals anyway. And that's, I mean, Ronaldo obviously is a different caliber player, I think, but similar. Like, Ronaldo going to Man United, he's still, a lot of his goals were poachers finishes. So at that age, you've got to accept that you're not got the legs like you used to. So you got to go to a club that you probably is going to benefit you more so than you having to really help them. But Ronaldo, I mean, he has helped United especially, but we're not going to speak about them because they didn't play this week. They played their game early against Chelsea. Let's move forward then. Morty, I'm going to stay with you because it's Everton's 3-2 defeat at home to Brentford. Red card, controversy everywhere. thoughts on the game? I mean, you're going to be a happy man because it's one step closer to seeing it go down.
This is Everton in a nutshell. Like, let's be real here. They finally got up early. they got a penalty. They scored an own goal. They got someone sent off, and that was the first half. Like, it's just absolutely shambolic. And then Brentford come back, level it. They go again within 2 minutes, and then they bring on Solomon Rondon to try and counter back a point, and he gets himself sent off within 4. Lampard must be pulling his hair out. Like, they don't deserve to be in the bloody Premier League next season. They just don't. They've got the quality. They've spent more money than us. They've spent more money on us, and they've got that team. So, screw them. Goodbye.
Campo, thoughts? I mean, 2 red cards. They had the early one at the beginning. Like, it kind of just wrecks. It just any momentum they had. Again, Goodison Park behind them. They're up 1-0 at the time. Like, it just kind of just throws their game apart, doesn't it?
It just ruined the entire game for Everton. They probably go on to win quite comfortably without that first red card. They had all the energy. The crowd was behind them. The place was rocking, and they were in the ascendancy. And it's just that red card changed the entirety of the game. And fair play to Brentford, because against 10 men, teams sit back and compact. They still scored 3 goals. So fair play to them. They deserve the 3 points.
I mean, we've spoken about Brentford. They've been great this year. They have had much the same season as Sheffield United a few years ago. What would hate to see is for them to go and have a poor performance next year. But that's in the future. We don't know what's going to happen yet. But Baxter, this game, Everton. I mean, they're undone by their own faults, really, and it's tough to take, especially if you were an Everton fan.
Just grab the popcorn and sit back and watch a comedy fest at Goodison Park. It is the greatest. It was just great to watch from a neutral fan to see all this shit happen in the first half. And, it was just good to laugh. Good to laugh.
Right, well, you've given me a perfect cue for the next game. So, grab the popcorn. It's Arsenal's All or Nothing documentary. You've lost 2-0 away at Newcastle. What's your thoughts, mate?
Mate, this All for Nothing documentary is going to be one quite of a show. I think it's going to be better than the Spurs one. We talk about that home ground advantage, that 12th man. St. James's Park has come alive since that Saudi takeover, and man, that Guimaraes, doesn't he hold a midfield? Again, I know Campo was talking to me during the game, and he's like, "Man, you don't have any ball." And I'm just like, "Well, we're going to counter sometime." And when we did have the ball, we didn't look impressive. We didn't look like we wanted to go forward. But maybe this is sort of the Wenger effect. We lose the North London derby, we lose this game, and then last game of the season, Spurs put up a shithousery performance against Norwich, and we steal Champions League. It could happen. Nothing set in stone here, but look, I can only you got to laugh, otherwise you cry. And it was a bad day. It was a bad day.
Well, if you do miss out on Champions League football, it's very much like when you've been up all game and then you concede a late equaliser. It feels like you don't feel happy about a point when maybe a point was good enough. Whereas the opposite, where if you're trailing all game, you get that point, you're ecstatic, you take it. This game, though, just outplayed off the park. You spoke of Bruno Guimaraes. He's been unbelievable. And I mean, teams can sign players. Teams can throw money at players, but it's about getting that right player, and they've done it with him. Anyhow, I mean, what a manager. Could potentially win Manager of the Year, in my opinion, just the way he's done things there. Will he get it? Maybe not. But, I mean, it's a massive win for Newcastle, and a Newcastle team that probably doesn't have much to play for, whereas Arsenal, they go here. The Champions League football is still in their hands if they get a result here. They slip up hugely, outplayed off the park, and all of a sudden it's Spurs to lose now against bottom of the table. Campo, I mean, obviously you were cheering on Newcastle like there's no tomorrow this game, but what was your
was he cheering?
Mate, my My thoughts of the game. Yeah, as Baxter said, I messaged him. I said, I don't know what you were doing. Like, there was no press. There was no, like he said, we're waiting for a counterattack. I did not see any kind of press to even try force an error for a counterattack. It just looked like they were shell shocked from that. They all hurt and still. The inexperience of the squad shows again. No one wanted to fight. You just saw one team wanted to win and one team didn't. You think Newcastle were fighting for the Champions League and Arsenal were on holiday. But fair play to Newcastle. They deserve that win. They absolutely battered Arsenal and deserve the win.
Well, with the money that Newcastle now have, they could soon be challenging for the Champions League, that's for sure. Morty, what was your thoughts on the game? I mean, Granit Xhaka came out and said that basically all his teammates are shit and that none of them are good enough to play for the badge and they've got to grow some balls. But, I mean, is he not the first one to, take a look at himself and think, I'm not good enough to play for Arsenal?
Don't throw stones in glass houses, as they all say. I mean, he's had his fair share of controversy over the years, and they just didn't rock up. It's like they must have had a fight in the bus beforehand and gone, "No, I don't want to talk to you," because there's nothing. There was nothing out there from them. They were dead. They were flat. Newcastle came out with a job to do. They looked hungry. They knew what they were doing. They got it done. And how good are they going to look next year with Harry Kane leading the line? All that money they're going to have.
Shut up, stupid.
Outstanding.
I mean, Newcastle obviously. Newcastle are a team that obviously will need to build on this because they've gotten themselves out of a great escape, really, from where they were at. But yes, they've thrown a bit of money behind it, but they need to now kick on and move up the ladder. I think anything less than where they finished this year will be a bad season for them next year. Possibly they need to go on a cup run because they haven't had a cup run in God knows how long now. I mean, they lost to Cambridge United this year in I think it was the third round of the FA Cup. So a successful season for Newcastle now, but they need to build. Arsenal, again, like I said, it's hard for you guys because you probably are overachieving a little bit getting Champions League football. But again, like I said, it's that equaliser mentality where you had it there and you've almost let it slip, so to speak.
It's all right if we lose Champions League. Like as you said, overachievement. Well done to Arteta for turning that club around from week 3 to week 38. We can only build from this, and hopefully next year we finish above Spurs.
Well, when Arteta took over, I mean, you were in the Europa League spots then. Since he took over, he spent 300 million, and you're also in the Europa League spot. So, improvement.
Well, considering the players we had, like let's talk about it. We had all these retiree players coming in, all over the age of 30. You had Ozil on a big wage. You had Aubameyang over a big wage. We had the likes of the Greek centre-back, wherever he's playing from Dortmund. We had him who was useless. We signed Liechtenstein, whatever his name is, at right back. We got rid of all these players that we don't want anymore, and we've reduced the wage bill. Now, yes, people want to talk about, we're still in Europa League, but what he's done at the club behind the scenes, like we've brought through Saka, who started off as a left back, who moved to left wing. Now he's playing right wing. You've got Emil Smith-Rowe now starting. You've got Gabriel Martinelli, who's killing it. We're seeing the lighter end of this. We've gotten through our dark stage. We're getting through. Maybe next year we press for Champions League. Maybe we go on and contest for the title. Who's to say? I don't know. We can, let's see what happens.
All right. Well, let's get into the final game of the round then, because it has been a very long one. I mean, Morty, you're going to get to take it away here. It's your 2-1 come-from-behind win at Southampton this morning, which takes the Premier League title race to the final day. Talk us through it. Emotions going down 1-0 early.
Some more shocking refereeing decisions falling again. It's the way it falls. We found a way. We threw out our bloody C squad and found a way to do it, and all you can ask for. There's no point going on with the game to try and score 7 because we weren't at that point. Like if they were relying on a draw and City to lose by X amount of goals and et cetera, et cetera. So a win is all we needed to do. We got it. I'm happy. Again, some refereeing decisions up and down across the board. But we'll move past it because we won. But wasn't happy at that point. So.
Yeah, I mean, had you dropped any points this game, I think it would have been a massive shock. This was a game that you figured was going to be a straightforward win. You went down early, but you got that goal, not 15 minutes after you got the goal. So it kind of calms the nerves again. I think it was at that point, it just becomes, when's the next one going in? And then at 2-1, you couldn't see you guys conceding. It was a heavily rotated squad. It was 9 changes. But the lads that were on the pitch, especially some of the younger ones and the older ones, James Milner, they all stepped up. And again, take this into the final day. Still got a tough ask. I still think it's in City's hands. I mean, it is in their hands, but who knows? Could be magic there. Campo though, from the game.
The Klopp roulette nearly struck him. But
roulette.
Yeah,
He's trying. He's playing roulette.
I was just trying to fish there. But again, they took a risk, paid off this time. But a lucky goal from Matip. I think he just heads it straight into Kyle Walker-Peters' back of his head and lobs the keeper. So, but again, it was if he didn't score, someone was going to eventually score. But takes it to the last day just to break their hearts.
Baxter, are you on the Liverpool train, or are you? I mean, you kind of said it a bit earlier, but which way are you seeing it? I think you're on mute.
Mute yourself, mate.
Sorry.
Okay.
I am on the Liverpool train here. I'd rather see Liverpool lift the Premier League title than the Champions League title. So, look, it makes it interesting. Last day, I don't know which team I want to see lose, City or Spurs.
I think you'd rather see Spurs. Obviously, benefit your team, but we're going to wrap up. What was that?
Why not both?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Would make my morning.
We're going to wrap up because it's been a long one. The longer this pod's gone on, the darker your guys' faces have gotten because apparently none of you believe in lights. But approach that
right when we started, mate.
We'll try to
get off
a bit earlier from now on because you guys can turn the light on.
Magic.
There we go.
What are lights? Don't need them.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me, guys. Baxter, as always, thanks for coming on. Morty Campo, as always. And we'll catch you for the final round preview later in the week. See you then.